Good afternoon, good evening. How are you today?
Very good, Uzo. Good to see you today.
Good to see you today, sir. Welcome, everyone. A brief introduction. Dr. Paul is the head of Financial Inclusion Delivery Unit at the Development Finance Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He previously worked in the Strategy Management Department and then the Trade and Exchange Department as head of policy, formulation, and implementation before moving to FIDU. He holds a distinction in strategy and innovation from the Business School, Oxford University, a PhD in engineering, and an MSc from School of Business and Economics, University of the UK. His role at FIDU involves leading change management, coordinating the stakeholder space in Nigeria, driving the implementation of the financial inclusion strategy, monitoring performance, and communicating outcomes. Paul has worked as an academic with Abia State Polytechnic, Loughborough University, and University of Nottingham. He was honored in 2015 with the Emerald Citation for Excellence Awards for his seminal research paper, Developing a Corporate Knowledge Management Strategy, and also recognized by the British Council in 2017 for contributions to professional development during the Education UK Alumni Award. His work experience in the nonprofit development sector, particularly with the World Bank, the British Council, WaterAid, and the National Autistic Society UK, shaped his philosophical outlook in terms of development priorities for Nigeria, especially around financial inclusion, poverty, and inequality. He brings this wealth of experience to the immediate role of advancing financial inclusion to the Nigerian citizen using the levers of policy, regulation, and on-the-ground implementation. Dr. Paul, are you here with us?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes. I can hear you now.
I can hear you, but I can't see your. Dr. Paul, can you hear me or see me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you now. Yes. Hello.
Okay, I can see you now. Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. I can see you now. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, Doctor. And I'll just go ahead with all the amazing questions we have for you.
All right.
Can you please, I know it's a bit of introduction, but can you please introduce yourself and tell our audience about your background and expertise in the field of financial inclusion?
Right. I'm Paul Olipe, and I lead the Financial Inclusion Delivery Unit at the Central Bank of Nigeria. My role is to coordinate the space, to coordinate others in the financial space to try and deliver outcomes, especially implement the national strategy, which is the core set of priorities that we utilize to advance financial in Nigeria, especially onboarding vulnerable people, priority demographics, women, youth, and rural people, MSMEs, and people in certain demographics in Nigeria who are acutely excluded. So my role at the central bank is basically, implementing the strategy and then coordinating the stakeholder space so that we can have a seamless implementation of the national financial inclusion strategy.
That's amazing. So if you can tell us a little bit of what motivated you to become involved in the promotion of financial inclusion, and how has your journey been so far?
Well, my motivations and if you look at my profile, I come from the non-profit background, having worked with a lot of non-profits, especially even at the Global British Council and Water Aid and a number of others as well. So, I mean, the journey has been one of fulfillment because it's something that, an aspiration, a goal is something that I have passion for. The space of financial inclusion, basically, you see that you are feeling a need, you are feeling a gap, you are meeting a need, you are putting smiles on somebody's face, you are making less privileged people come into the banking system. They now have IDs, they can have accounts, they can begin to use the full complement of products and services that we have in the financial power people. And once you're able to empower people and you see smiles on their face, basically you are fulfilled. So it is something that anyone and everyone should aspire to do, and that is to make a change, bring a change into the society and communities where we live.
Wow, that's really great. Financial inclusion is crucial for economic development. Can you share some examples or success stories where it improved financial inclusion and has had a direct positive impact on a community or region?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me say, in Nigeria here, we've conducted a lot of financial inclusion implementation initiatives. Let me give an example. We use National Youth Corps members to do what we call financial literacy, especially in excluded areas. Not all areas in Nigeria are equally included into the financial system. So there are areas that have disadvantage in terms of the numbers of people that use assets and use accounts and use financial products and services like pensions, insurance, and the capital market products, savings, and then credit, and all of that. So one of the things we use, we deploy youth corps members to do under the National Peer Group Educator Program, NAPGET, is we recruit them to become ambassadors, and then we also send them to certain rural locations. And over the years that we've been doing this, we've been seeing an increasing number of people, especially rural people, sign on to accounts. We've also deployed agents. Obviously, you know that agent banking in Nigeria currently is a financial inclusion initiative. And currently, we have about 1.5 million agents all across Nigeria. This is something that we started in 2018 under the Financial Inclusion Program. And currently, you could see a lot of agents, all around you. You could see we built out both in the rural areas. So it has made significant impact. What that has helped do is to bring into place, bring proximity to access points, financial access points, proximity of access points to the people, so that, within a certain radius of your home, you could transact, you could withdraw money, you could deposit money, as opposed to where bank branches, are so few and far between in certain locations, but agents can reach all of those places. There are so many other things that we have done, but for brevity of time, I've just cited these two instances. It helps improve lives. It helps foster economic activity, which ultimately dovetails to economic growth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We've all seen how important agency banking is, especially earlier this year. So yeah, I do agree with that, and also thank you. And it's great that this initiative is being pushed to foster growth of financial inclusion in the nation. In your in your opinion, what are the main challenges and barriers that still exist in achieving universal financial inclusion, and how can these challenges be addressed?
The challenges to financial inclusion are multifarious. There's so many of them. And one of them is ID. If you don't have an ID, you may not onboard. To do KYC, you require an ID. To get a basic account, you get an account that is fully functional, you need to do full KYC. Some people do not have ID, especially people in rural areas. About 60% of youths in Nigeria do not have ID. About 50 something percent of people who are in the rural areas do not have ID. A lot of people are born, at home. A lot of people are born at home. My own father does not have a birth certificate, and there's no way they can. He could have gotten, national ID or something else, that a unit of
Yeah,
ID that he can use. So all I'm saying is, the impediment of not having an ID is very crucial. Impediments, very, very fundamental impediments to access to finance. But what we have done is to do a tiered KYC conditionality where you can get a basic no frills account. You get a basic account that you can use, and then if you wanted to level, you will begin to talk about having a functional ID, but at least you could have a mobile wallet that serves your needs, your cash flow needs. There are other impediments like financial literacy. If you are not literate financially, you tend not to trust financial products and services, and then you do one. That literacy is very important. Also, digital literacy is a key
yeah,
too. Because in the era of digital and mobile, a lot of Nigerians have on that platform, on those devices. So if you are not to the fullest extent, this on digital, on mobile. So it's a key challenge. There are multiple other things also, like access points are few and far between. They are sparsely, proliferating across Nigeria, and so bank branches are not there. So it's a key challenge to onboarding people. There's also the cost of financial services. For some others who are at the very lowest rung of the ladder, it is not afforded. So they require certain to be able to onboard. And so we probably would need to try and unfreeze the space and onboard them.
I lost you there for a moment, doctor. Can you hear me?
Impediments is not as robust as it is in urban areas. And so to be able to
Yeah,
cover people, data coverage in Nigeria, is better in urban areas and suburban areas than in rural areas. So it's a key impediment, infrastructure for financial services, right?
yeah.
So these are
It
just some of the things that we see that are key challenges
would,
to financial services.
it would be good to know, and this is just
Your screen
me.
seems to have frozen. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me? Is it still frozen? I think the network, we're having a little bit of issues with the network. Please just hang in there, and then Doctor will join us. Dr. Paul will join us shortly.
Who's on? Yeah, I'm getting him back. You are live. You are live. So just keep highlighting what has been said.
Okay, so while we wait for Dr. Paul to get back, for those of us that are just joining, um, Dr. Paul, I introduced Dr. Paul and he gave us a bit more of his background. And, I went ahead to ask him what motivated him to get involved in the promotion of financial inclusion, and also the crucial, examples of success stories where there's been an improved move of the financial inclusion. And he gave an example of agency banking and how they're right now about over 5 million agents across the nation, and that's how, and especially in the rural areas where you, let me just go up. Just, oh God have mercy.